Imagine, for a moment, that you are standing on the deck of a ship, sailing across the ocean of your life. The wind is in your face, the vessel is solid beneath your feet. But as you look out across the water, you see another ship. It is a ghost ship, translucent and shimmering in the mist. And on the deck of that ghost ship stands another version of you. This is the you who made the other choice. The you who moved to that city, who married that person, who took that job, who was braver, bolder, or luckier. You watch this ghost ship sailing a parallel course toward a destination you will never reach. And as you watch, a terrible, aching question rises in your throat. Is that the life I was supposed to live? Welcome to Existential Psychology Insights. This haunting feeling, the sense that our real life is shadowed by the fantasy of the life we didn't live, is one of the most pervasive sources of modern unhappiness. If you have ever lost sleep wondering what if, you are in the right place. I invite you to subscribe so we can navigate these deep waters together. Today, we are going to confront the ghost of the unlived life. We will explore the psychology of regret, the paralysis of choice, and the existential necessity of mourning the paths we did not take. We will argue that true peace is found not in trying to live every life, but in fully, radically accepting the one, singular, imperfect life that is actually yours. The poet and writer Sylvia Plath gave us one of the most devastating metaphors for this condition in her novel, The Bell Jar. She imagined herself sitting in the crotch of a fig tree, starving to death just because she couldn't make up her mind which of the figs she would choose. She wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest. And as she sat there, unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black, and one by one they plopped to the ground at her feet. This is the existential terror of opportunity cost. We live in a world that tells us you can be anything, but the hard reality of the human condition is that you cannot be everything. Time is finite. Energy is finite. To say yes to one path is to say a permanent, irreversible no to 1,000 others. Every choice is a sacrifice. Every decision is a small death. To become a doctor is to kill the potential artist. To commit to one partner is to mourn the possibility of all others. To stay in your hometown is to let the version of you who travels the world dissolve into mist. The problem arises when we refuse to accept this reality. We refuse to mourn. Instead, we keep the ghost ships alive in our minds. We curate elaborate fantasies about how much happier, richer, and more fulfilled we would be if we had just chosen differently. This is a cognitive trap. We are comparing our actual life, which is full of mundane struggles, boredom, bad days, and real-world friction, with a fantasy life that is curated, idealized, and perfect. Of course the real life loses. The ghost ship never encounters storms. The ghost ship never has plumbing problems. The ghost ship is perfect because it isn't real. This constant comparison creates a state of existential splitting. We are physically present in our real life, but our spirit, our enthusiasm, and our love are siphoned off to feed the ghost. We become resentful of our reality. We treat our partners, our jobs, and our homes with a subtle contempt because they are not the perfect ones we imagine in the parallel life. We are haunting our own existence, half absent, looking over our shoulder at what might have been. So how do we exorcise this ghost? How do we stop watching the phantom ship and start steering our own? The answer lies in a difficult but necessary psychological process: grieving. We must learn to mourn our unlived lives. We must acknowledge that the loss is real. Yes, there was a version of you who became a musician. That version is gone. Yes, there was a version of you who married your high school sweetheart. That possibility is dead. We must allow ourselves to feel the sadness of that limitation. We must hold a funeral for the potential selves that will never be born. It sounds morbid, but it is actually the pathway to liberation. When you stop denying the loss, when you stop pretending that the door is still open, you can finally turn away from the closed door and face the room you are actually in. You can reclaim the energy you were wasting on the what-ifs and pour it into the what-is. This brings us to the profound concept of amor fati, a Latin phrase cherished by the philosopher Nietzsche. It translates to love of fate. This is not just resignation. It is not just saying, well, I guess I'm stuck with this. It is an active, enthusiastic embrace of your life exactly as it is, including the mistakes, the wrong turns, and the suffering. It is the radical acceptance that this messy, imperfect, singular trajectory is your life. It is the only vehicle you have for experiencing the universe. To reject it in favor of a fantasy is to reject existence itself. We must also use logic to dismantle the fantasy of the parallel life. We must realize that even if we had made that different choice, we would still be us. We would still carry our insecurities, our fears, and our human frailty with us. The other life would have its own distinct set of boredoms, heartbreaks, and tragedies. There is no path without suffering. There is no fig on the tree that tastes like eternal happiness. The cure for the haunting of regret is to commit fully to the reality of the present. It is to realize that meaning is not found in having the best life, but in bringing your best self to the life you have. It is about watering the plant in front of you rather than weeping over the seeds you didn't plant 10 years ago. So I invite you to perform a ritual of release. Identify the ghost ship that haunts you the most. Look at it. Acknowledge its beauty. Thank it for the hope it once gave you. And then, with compassion and firmness, say goodbye. Watch it sail over the horizon. And then look down at your own feet, at the solid deck of your own ship. Feel the wind on your face. This is your voyage. This is your ocean. And it is the only one that matters because it is the only one that is real.